After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again, a story by Dan Santat. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I loved being close to the birds. Then one day, I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me back together. Well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things. I walked past the wall every day and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really missed the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. And then one day, an idea flew by. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches, but day after day, I kept trying and trying until I got it just right. My plane was perfect and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. I almost walked away again, but then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that wall. So here's this plane, my friends, sitting on top of the wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. I didn't want to admit it. I was terrified. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing, one step at a time, until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. Hopefully you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. Oh wow, my friends. Look at here. And learned how to fly. Wow. Oh, and this was the book that all you guys signed for me and got me for my birthday. Look at that. That's all your names. Aww. Good morning, my friends. Now that we've read our book, After the Fall, we're going to talk about plot. The plot is what happens in the story. Within the plot, you will have characters, setting, problem, and solution. So today I'm going to talk about the characters, the setting, and the problem, and I want you to be thinking about the solution because that's going to be your assignment, the solution, okay? So the characters in this story, we have one very main character, and his name is Humpty Dumpty. Here he is. It talks about some other characters, but we don't really see many other characters. There's no other main characters, that's for sure. The setting. What does the setting look like to you? There's some different settings. Where does it look like Humpty Dumpty lives? Kind of looks like a city, right? There's tall buildings. There's some power lines. Here, this looks like it's in his house. But I think the main setting would be a city. It doesn't tell us what city. It's not very specific. Yeah, and then another big part of the setting is this wall right here, right? That's a big part of the setting because that's where a lot of the things happen. A lot of the story takes place at that wall, so that's the setting. What is the problem in this story? The problem is Humpty Dumpty is afraid of heights. And he has a pretty good reason to be afraid, right? He fell. But I need to know, what do you think is the solution in the story? So he's afraid of heights and he avoids them at all costs until what? So I want you to think of the solution to Humpty Dumpty's problem, write it down and take a picture of it and send it to me on Dojo, okay?